The 5-Minute Photographer with Shelton Muller.
This is the scene of a crime. It's a crime I committed. I admit it. You may have committed a similar crime. Yes, it's a crime committed with flash. Blown-out faces and awful red eyes. For many, this is the story. This is the saga of flash, but it needn't be. No, your flash will not light up the entire auditorium, no matter how much you want it to. It just isn't going to have enough power, and no amount of flash will do it. There are times, of course, when it's just not appropriate to use flash. You'll interrupt the performance, or it just isn't allowed. There are also times when, because of the nature of the light, well, you just don't want to use flash. Flash would ruin everything. But using flash is a lot more than just popping it up and letting it do its thing. Simply popping up the pop-up flash on your DSLR or your compact camera is not the salvation to your lighting issues. Sometimes, actually, it makes things worse. It will not light up the room, and often you'll end up with disappointing, underexposed photographs. And no matter how hard you try, as we've said, it simply won't light up the auditorium. And if your subject is looking straight down the barrel, you'll often get the dreaded red eye. But your flash is a powerful tool for great image making. Today's flash guns make the whole thing very easy. A dedicated flash system like the Nikon system or the Canon system or one for your cameras means that the flash and the camera talk to each other in terms of exposure. The camera tells the flash when it's had enough. And if you buy a flash with a bounce and swivel head, you can make the lighting more creative and natural. This photograph taken of our model was taken with just direct flash, and you get the naturally expected flat lighting with the hard shadow behind. It works, but it's not particularly complimentary. Simply tilting the flash so that it directs towards its light toward the ceiling and bounces down makes it more natural. Again, simply directing the flash toward a nearby white wall makes it look far more natural, like window light. Let's have a look at these three photographs. The first one, direct flash. What you'd expect. The second one, light bounced off the ceiling. The third one, light bounced off a nearby white wall, making the whole thing far more natural in its appearance. Bounce flash is very effective for that. In a photograph such as this, flash is used, but it's used so that it's made to look natural, simply by using the bounce and swivel on the flash's head to direct the light into the corner. But what about exposure? Well, as we've said, exposure often is taken care of by the camera's metering systems these days. The way that cameras and flashes talk to one another, you simply set your camera to TTL and your flash to TTL and everything is taken care of, which in a situation where you want to use flash outdoors, like a fill flash situation, is ideal. It's almost point and shoot and very, very accurate. Fill flash is used outdoors to get rid of hard shadows, to balance out the contrast, and is used by professionals in wedding and portrait photography all the time. In fact, fill flash can even be used to just compensate for those times when your film or your camera sensor can't see everything. The idea behind the exposure is simple math. The guide number of your flash divided by the distance to the subject equals the f-stop you need to choose. Let's have a look at that. Let's say your instruction manual tells you that the guide number of your flash is 40 in meters. Your subject is 10 meters away. Your f-stop then is 40 divided by 10, f4. But what about the shutter speed? Well, if your camera syncs with flash up to 1/250th of a second, well, you can use it very effectively to freeze motion. But what if you select a shutter speed that's slower than that? What if you select a shutter speed that actually matches the available light? Well, you can use flash very effectively to create the idea of both blur and frozen motion in the same photograph. And that is often done very effectively. These photographs were taken with a 1-second exposure and frozen at the very end with the flash. Yes, matching flash with ambient exposure is very powerful indeed. We're going to be talking about off-camera flash in future tutorials, so stay tuned. We hope that this has helped you in your understanding of how to use flash successfully in your photography.